Welcome to Cantech 2019, and joining us now is Colin Fisher, the President and Portfolio Manager at StableView Asset Management. Colin, welcome to SmallCapPower.
Thanks for having me.
So this is day 2 of Cantech 2019. What's your assessment of the conference this year?
Well, I think it's been great. A bunch of interesting companies, great panelists. Obviously, thematically, I think eSports is a big one for them. And I think they've got some great panelists and shows going on. So yeah, been a great conference.
We'll come back to esports in a bit, but the theme last year, the theme dominating last year's Cantech was blockchain. Why do you think that has slumped?
Well, I think part of it is that it was much more hype than it was a reality. I think a big difference between esports and blockchain is that has been an organic grower over the last few decades. Amazon bought Twitch for $1 billion about, I don't know how many years ago it was now. And everyone thought it was crazy that they spent $1 billion on an e-gaming platform for people to watch other people play games. So I think the big difference is blockchain will become something in the long term. In the short term, it's just there's a ton of technical problems, and most of it is hype. I constantly quote Omar's Law. Omar's Law states that we overestimate technology in the short run and we underestimate it in the long run. And that's exactly what happened with blockchain. Now, in the case of gaming, it's been an organic growth, and we haven't seen it really in the mainstream investment community. And so I think a lot of people are shocked at just how big it really is. So that's a much more organic, real movement in the investment area.
So the big question they're raising is that can an esports team actually rival the size and the popularity of a national league? Do you feel that's possible?
The answer, I think, is yes. I mean, when you think about the NFL or the NHL or the NBA, it's really the excitement of the activity that's on screen mostly. I mean, there's very few people that actually go to the stadium or the sports arena versus how many people will watch on the bar or TV or whatnot. So I think as the realism of a lot of what's going to be in the VR and AR and 3D dimensions and all the other stuff they're going to be adding to it, I think that'll make a very exciting event to watch. So I think the entertainment value will be there. And there's already proof in the pudding when you look at South Korea and Japan and in Asia, there's a ton of people who follow that sport. So I think the answer is yes. I think it's already somewhat proven already. I just think it hasn't really come to North America, and the question will be, will it be adopted? And I think you will see that the younger generation are already watching a lot of that. So I think the answer is yes. To what degree and how quickly it gets adopted, that'll be the question.
What about FinTech companies? Their business case is very promising, but their biggest challenge is to acquire customers. Any companies that you think will override that challenge?
Well, FinTech, I think, is a misnomer in many ways, because there's many types of FinTech companies. There's lending technology, there is, which is really just the underwriting. And that's actually where a lot of people call FinTech, or there's the banking element. VersaPay, I would say, is a different type of animal in that FinTech space, where what they're doing is solving the accounts receivable problem. And so you and I in our personal day-to-day life will use credit cards or electronic payments, and it'll be automated and we don't pay our bill. Like, I don't pay my phone bill, it just gets paid by my credit card. I don't pay my cable bill, it just gets paid, or my internet. So those are automated. In the corporate world, though, people still write a ton of checks, and a lot of the systems are not in place. And so in a case of VersaPay, they're actually taking the whole process and automating it and getting rid of the human capital that's required to bring in revenue, reconcile with your bank, make sure that you can recognize the revenue within an audited environment, and make sure that the whole process goes from payment to account to your bank, reconciles directly with your accounts receivable software accounting package or ERP system. That all gets automated and done in one shot. That is a huge step forward, and that's a FinTech, but most people wouldn't think about the accounts receivable automation as a concept, right? So there's very few people playing in that. Most of the FinTech, I think, is, as I said, a misnomer. I think they're just really trying to automate very specific things, or they're trying to bring the lending out to the more marginal individuals and be able to reduce the cost.
Colin Fisher, thank you so much for making time.
My pleasure, thanks very much.